So we are moving from one dimension to two-dimensional motion. So we are building on the basics of one dimension. All of the concept that we learn now, it's built on the basics of one dimension. So the basic idea is two dimension is a combination of two one-dimensional motion, one along the x-axis or the y-axis or any pair of perpendicular axis. It can be y, z, x, z, so on and so forth. Right? As I mentioned at the start of the chapter, that is, the key to understand two-dimensional motion is to realize that any complex thing can be simplified by breaking it down. So we just keep going back to this slide, guys, or this slide. Then object's 2D path can be broken down into x and y component for easier analysis. So let me show that. Okay, can you see this? So what we have here is a red dot. We are trying to understand red dot. But red dot, if I just make this screen empty, it's not easy to talk. But if I tell red dot is say 5 right and 4 up. If I tell that the red dot is at 5, go 5 right and 4 up, you'll find the red dot. That's much easier to communicate rather than trying to tell it is at an angle of 30 degree or 45 degree, whatever this angle is, and at a unit of 5 units. That is also possible, but this is much easier. 5 right and 1 up is much easier to communicate, right? So I'm breaking down a complex position into smaller parts, right? Example over here, 3 left and 1 up, 3 left and 2 up, and so on and so forth. So basically we are just doing that, guys, nothing else. The entire chapter has to do with that. The places that we'll be applying is with displacement, velocity, and acceleration. So everything will be broken down in a similar manner, like how I broke down the position of this particle into 2 parts. Same way we'll be doing it for all. And the notation that we will be using is, actually let me go back. So let me take an example. I need to do that exercise. So let's consider something like this. All of this is 1 unit. Okay, 1, 2, so on and so forth. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, say you have 3 up and 2. So 3 right and 2 up. Or I can describe the position of point P. Point P is at 3 units along the x-axis and 2 units, 2 unit count along the y-axis. Can I tell this? So generally you guys write it in this manner, right? 3, 2 and stuff like that. It's equivalent to that also. Now, what we are moving towards is the notation. So this very slide is an entire chapter that is there for you guys in 12th mathematics. So that chapter is what I want you guys to learn. So now I have compressed the entire chapter into one slide over here. So you have to have that knowledge before you come over here. If you're not understanding from this point onwards, you're not done a good job with that chapter. Vectors are pretty much the bread and butter over here. So now velocity notation in 2 dimension. So how do you actually communicate? I can't keep writing this way, whatever I wrote over here. That's pretty complex. right? And just 3 comma 2 is a good representation, but we have another easier representation. So that is your vector notation. So instead of saying motion along the x-axis, so here I spoke of 3 units along the x-axis, moving along the x-axis. Instead of that, we can use unit vectors like I cap and j cap to express direct formula. So to express direction formally. For example, in the previous slide, we saw this, right? So instead of writing this, so we can tell point P is at 3 I cap plus 2 j cap. This represents the statement that it's 3 units, 3 unit count along x-axis and 2 unit count along y-axis. So instead of telling that, we're just writing this. That's it. Okay. So yeah, we have few more examples. 5 meter along the x-axis, we write it as 5 I cap. So 5 meters in the direction of x, in the x direction. Minus 3 along the y-axis means minus 3 j cap, or 3 meters downward or southward, however you want to frame it as. So if in general motion in both x and y axis will look like x I cap plus y j cap. It's a combined two-dimensional motion with x and y components that we have seen over here. So an example, oh, we don't have an example. I'll give an example over here. So this would be, can you guess how much is this? Please tell it out loud. Tell it to yourself. So this would be 4 I cap and 2 j cap. What about this? Yeah, what about this? Minus 3 I cap and minus 4 j cap. Do you guys agree? So that is that. Similarly, we'll be talking about velocity and acceleration. So a velocity along the x-axis is, we talk in terms of Vx I cap, and y-axis is Vy j cap. Velocity broken down to x and y direction. Similarly, acceleration as well. That's it. If you understand this, that we are breaking things down, how we are breaking things down, how all of this will add up, that you will understand with certain derivation and a lot of problems. So this entire thing is about applying, breaking down, applying, and you will understand the topic, right? Yeah, it's time for you guys to pause and write down a few key things.